Say we step it up to the $30 mark, we could then get the way cooler sounding plasma arc lighter. Now, plasma lighters have become a whole genre at this point. They use oppositely charged electrodes which create an arc of plasma between them when powered, which is hot enough to set things alight. And the cool thing about that is they don't need any fuel, they just need charge. But the extra cool thing about this plasma lighter is that it also contains pyro putty. This is basically your fire starter. So let's see if it works. Let's dab it on the top there. I will say it does feel like a slight design flaw that the trigger for the plasma lighter is so close to the plasma itself, meaning that you have to get really close to the fire. Now let's see if that's enough to get the whole thing going. As expected, this is currently doing nothing for my waning sensation in my fingers. You know what? It actually works. It's a good enough fire starter that you can be rest assured that the tiny little bit of putty that will fit into the bottom of this one lighter is actually enough to get you going. Okay, but probably the coolest thing is this pyro putty. They're saying that even if you get it wet, you can apparently just strain it. And what I'm really excited to see is, can we now still light this? If this works, it'll be so impressive. It's definitely a little more resistant to lighting than when it was dry. Okay, it does light. Eventually. This is so cool. It's by far my favorite so far. All topped off by the fact that the casing is completely waterproof and glow in the dark too. I can't see it getting much better than this. But then at 3 times that price, we have Zippo's Chad older brother, aka the Titan Light. So this one still runs on lighter fluid. It's more traditional, but it allows for longer intervals between refills than a basic lighter because of an O-ring seal that prevents evaporation. It's got a waterproof exterior to 1 meter depth. It's got supposedly a high spark flint wheel, which was actually kind of satisfying. Plus, you can also tell this is the most reliable flame that we've had so far. Question is it a powerful enough flame to light the wood even without a fire starter? Ooh, the answer of which appears to be a pretty resounding yes. I mean, it won't light wet wood, but in any case, it's going to do a better job than any other traditional style lighter. So this is basically just the lighter done right. It just doesn't seem nearly as good value for money as the plasma arc lighter. Okay, this GoSen has been going for nearly 38 minutes. And some part of me is honestly expecting this to have done absolutely nothing. Let's find out. Whoa, holy moly. This thing cooked. I mean, let's be honest, it's a pretty sad looking meal, but it's actually steaming in here. It's gonna need a little longer to get it to where I want it to, but this is gonna work. Ow. Now, the FlexTail Tiny Pump is, wow, these guys weren't kidding. Thing actually feels like it weighs nothing. So there's a lamp on the front, which has 3 different settings. I call them basically non-existent, actually pretty decent, and practically a flashlight. The back is a magnet. I mean, you're not going to find a huge amount to stick it onto in the wilderness. It's more for snapping it onto your own equipment, but it's also not a very strong magnet at all. They even sell it as being able to oxygenate your campfire with the air that it's blowing, which there is a pretty easy way to test. You know what, actually, that does do the job. It is rapidly accelerating this thing's growth. And then, of course, finally, it's a pump, so it can deflate if, let's say, you want to vacuum pack some clothes to save space, but then also inflate with 4 kilopascals of pressure, which is pretty good for the size, but it's not all-encompassing. Like, we originally planned to use this to inflate this absolutely insane tent that we got coming up, but it's just not enough power. This thing feels like the living definition of jack of all trades, but master of none. So I think we'll pass. Right, how's our dinner looking? It's been 1 hour, 15 minutes since we first put this on. Oh, I can actually smell roasted peppers. I'd say it's not been 100% completely direct sun the entire time, but then again, it has been cooking for 2.5 times it said it would take. So, ooh, okay. You know what? It's kind of all smoke, no fire. Because when you pull out this food tube and you see the steam and you hear the sizzle, some part of you for a split second thinks you're at a professional barbecue. But then none of this is particularly charred in an appetizing way. It tastes completely fine. You'd survive, but it's not fine dining on the go. Everything's a little chewier than you'd expect. So, does this make the inventory? I'm going to say no. I think there's a fundamental problem here because this is kind of a gamble. And you might be able to take a gamble on whether your solar-powered charger fills up your Nintendo Switch or not, but you can't take a gamble on whether or not you get dinner or whether that dinner is cooked. So whether you're in Nevada and let's say there's an 80% chance this works, or you're in the UK and there's a 20% chance this works, I don't think I would ever choose to pack a cooker that might work if I can choose to pack a slightly bigger cooker that will work. Not to mention that after all that, it's still only one person's worth of food. But if we really want to do survival cooking right, then we should have a look at the really fun $100 plus stuff, like this magic 760 degrees Celsius wand from Luft. So if the lighters we tested earlier were level 5, this definitely feels like level 50. I mean, just the sheer energy needed to pump out air at this temperature means that this Luft thing actually does need a permanent mains connection. Sounds like a hairdryer. Although imagine getting those two confused. It's actually a little alarming just how quiet the thing is, considering the power. But to really test it, we're also going to need our fire pit, which, at least based on the website, is being pitched as the ultimate way to do fire. If you showed this to a caveman, they would die on the spot. All right, I think now it's time for the thick boy wood. Oh, I'm so curious how this fares to just using a lighter. God, you can see how hot the thing gets. It actually does, in a way, feel like a magic wand. Because you're just waving air over these logs, and suddenly there is fire. Oh my God, it's like a flamethrower. What the hell? But yeah, like, we have fire. I do feel like this is not the kind of thing you take on the go because of the insane power requirements and size. But to be fair, I can also see the benefit, like it's way less fiddly than a lighter. And because the whole thing is electric, it's cleaner too. Plus, kind of like that tiny pump, there is a hyper boost button to oxygenate your fire. And as expected, that is a lot better than the tiny pump. All topped off with the fact that on the back end, there is literally a bottle opener. So you cook your drink and then you taste it.
That's not how that works.
So I actually like this. It just wouldn't be on my top 10 list of products to take on a quest with me because, well, it feels like it's designed for a home barbecue, and it's also just about the most expensive way to start a fire. Now this, though, this is even better. What's happening here is this USB chargeable pack on the side, which kind of makes the whole thing look like a robotic pig, is powering 51 air jets to inject the fire with oxygen. That oxygen makes the fire burn bigger, brighter, and warmer, which is absolutely working and is also already on its own pretty huge, but also that the fuel burns more completely, thus leaving fewer unburnt particles in the form of smoke. So actually, let's light this fire so we can see a side-by-side of how much difference it makes. This thing literally feels like when you unlock the next OP weapon. Okay, so just making sure that both fires have been given an equal chance to get going. There's actually such a difference when you look at the normal fire. It looks very peaceful by comparison, and this is like a highly accelerated version of the same process. It is literally like in Mario Kart when you pick up one of the stars, with actually, just like they advertised, zero smoke as far as I can see, whereas there's absolutely smoke here. But it gets smarter. They've specifically designed this grill to help radiate the heat outwards instead of upwards, where it would be completely wasted, and I have to say, it definitely works. I feel so much warmer here. And also, there's an app. Yes, even fire is now app controlled in 2025. I mean, not even to mention the fact that this fire hasn't needed tending once, whereas this one is literally about to go out. If the Ghost Sun was metaphorically all smoke, no fire, then this is the literal embodiment of it. I was a little worried that all the fans were going to kill the vibe of the fire, but you still feel the crackle. This is on 50% fan speed and you can barely hear the fans. It's actually not an issue at all. I freaking love this thing. Yes, you have this bulky power bank that does need to be charged separately, which yeah, does kill a little bit of the spontaneity of wanting to have a bonfire. But then the thing really does make the most of that power bank. Plus, you could also use it to charge your phone while you warm up. This BioLite thing is a big product, but I would absolutely still take it with me. Right. It's starting to get really dark, which means that even though this is one of the most expensive products in our entire video, now feels like a pretty good time to actually put up the $5,000 Mavericks base camp tent, which tries to solve the problems with traditional tents, you know, the absolute nightmare of putting them up and then keeping them up using mathematics. So in theory, all we need to do is to inflate these gray struts. We could use an electric pump. We are going to do it the old-fashioned way because it's not like we're a tech channel or anything. Why are we doing it like this? It feels like it's coming alive. Does it not feel like the final boss of a video game suddenly making its entrance? Oh my God, I'm dead. Wow. It looks so unique. And the reason is that the two founders from this company came up with a geodesic structure, or in other words, a dome shape with rigid triangular elements that is pretty much unbeatable in terms of redistributing stress throughout it. And maybe I should become geodesic. And also, because it all connects together, it also happens to be completely inflatable with one pump in one place, or two people in two places. It's up to you. But that's unlike a lot of tents which need separate valves, etc. Ah! Uh-oh. Oh. Yeah, it's the real deal. Oh, my butt stings. Oh. You can really tell that like this thing is not just a pretty face. This is designed to survive the harshest climates on planet Earth. And then on the inside, wow, you could literally sleep like 10 people in here. Wow. Let's take it for a spin then, shall we? Good morning. Wow. It is day 2 in the wilderness, and obviously the tent is still standing. It's an absolute feat of engineering. Assuming I was packing for a trip in the extremes, this would definitely make the cut. But the question on my mind now is, now that we've decided that we are going to start using products that require power, you know, like that insane fire pit, what's the best way to generate that power?